Hello, you're welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be making this baby frock for a 6-year old, and I'm using 1.5 yards of this fabric. As you can see, the fabric is of different parts, so I like to make the floral part the skirt part. So I'll fold this first of all into four, and the skirt length will be about 22 inches, while the width will be multiplied by the waist measurement, and the waist measurement here is 24 inches. So I'll measure the width out, and that's 24 plus 1 inch, that's unfold, so that's 25, making it 50 inches, and the skirt length is 22 inches. So when I'm done cutting this part, I'll then move over to cutting the upper part of it. So the upper part of it, I'm cutting it like an off shoulder blouse because the sleeve will be the frill part. So I'll measure 4 inches. I'm subtracting 4 inches from the length, and then I'm marking 13 inches for the front half length, and then I add one inch for the seam allowance, and I'm subtracting 4 too so I can create the arm curve. So the shoulder here is 12 inches. I'll place 1/4 of the measurement I have there. So I'm using 26 for the bust measurement. The bust measurement is 26 inches, dividing that by 4, that's 6.5, and then I'll add seam allowance. And for the waist too, I'm placing 1/4 of the waist measurement, which is 24, and I'm adding 2 inches because I'll be taking that since the dress is for an older baby. So connecting that point, I would like to just give it a little balance. Now for adult, I go up with 2 inches, but for a child like this, for a girl, I'll just go up with 1 inch, okay? So meaning the back half length is 1 inch shorter than the front half length. So I'm placing it on another fabric and cutting it exactly the same thing. So I'll mark the back half length of 12 inches plus 1 inch seam allowance, which is 13. So I'll just connect it and make it straight at that point. So meaning the back half length is 1 inch shorter than the front half length. So for the frill part, now remember the half length is 13 inches. So if I multiply it by 2, that's 26 inches. And because I'm making a frill, I'll make it 52 inches, okay? Because I'm multiplying that by 2. Okay, so before we subtracted 4 inches, but thinking about it again, you can make it that way. I'm taking it that the half length is 13, so if I multiply that by 2, gives me 26, and that makes it easier. And because it's gonna be gathered, I made it 52 inches. So now the fabric I have left is not that long, so I'm just gonna make this unfold, and then the width will now be 2 inches. I'll simply slide it open, therefore means I'll be joining them, okay, together. I'll join two together and join two again together to make one frill, and then I'll make gathers. So for the frill part, I'll be using this sequence to do the piping, and I'll make it the length of the frill. The frill, I'll gather it to 26 inches and add 1 inch for seam allowance. So for this, is the width is about 2 inches, and I'll make it the length of that frill. So now for the upper part here, I've cut the lining and I've cut the lining for it. So I'll simply turn the neck, and I'll do the same thing for the back bodies. So these are the frills. Okay, I've run gather stitches on them, and so I'll just gather them, everything, the two frills and the two parts for the skirt part. Okay, I'll just do a simple gather, like pulling the thread, and then you start dragging. Be careful so the thread won't cut. If it cuts, you will have to run the stitches again because you won't get what you want. So now you just have to push it little by little until you make everything gathered. So here's the upper bodies. I've turned the neck, and I use hemming gum at the neck there. So I'll just use the lining to turn the armholes. And exactly what I do to the front panel, I'll do the same thing to the back panel. So after doing that, I'll simply bring the frill back. Now this is the frill, I've already piped it. And like I said, you measure it 26 inches. So I have 1 inch as allowance. Okay, so I'm simply just gonna place the back bodice like so and bring the front panel, okay, to face the two necks. Just watch me do it. So I'm pinning it from the half length, from the back half length and the front half length, and I'm running it through the dart positions. Okay, I'll make it on a straight line. So wherever I have the dart, I'm just placing it straight, okay, to the neckline. And I'll do the same thing to the other side. After sewing it like this is what you will have. And so you make it unfold, and I'm bringing in the skirt part. I'll gather the skirt part to the waist measurement that I have there on the upper part of the dress. So if your gather is not to the dress, I mean to the waist measurement, you can just gather it some more and then you make it together. So then I'll join it to the upper bodies, and then I will take out 1 inch as my seam allowance all the way from the armhole, okay, to the hem. And I'll use 1 inch for the hem with hemming gum. Okay, so this is it. We are done. And I had to add a zipper to it. I installed a zipper, an invisible zipper, just to give the girl some ease when she's wearing them. And to be sure of the front bodies, like we did, the back is shorter than the front with 1 inch. So here is the front, okay, that we know. And then I'm gonna bring in a bow and place it in the middle, tuck it down, and that's it for the dress. If you have gotten any value from this video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe and share. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video.